The sun shone brightly over the school, but you felt uneasy as you walked through the busy hallway. Jungkook had been missing all morning, and the whispers you overheard made your chest tighten. Jungkook and Mira are getting engaged after graduation. Their families arranged it, someone said. Mira's already bragging about it. She's calling herself Mrs. John. Your heart sank. You knew how much Jungkook hated being forced into things, especially something like an engagement. And Mira, she had always looked down on you. You never mentioned this in front of Jungkook because they are childhood friends and you didn't want to become the reason of any conflict between them. And also, there's no specific relationship between you and Jungkook, so you're not sure whose side he'll take. Between you both are complicated, even though none of you confessed your feelings for each other, but you both are aware that things are far more than just being friends between the two of you. Right now, you're looking for him everywhere because he did not show up in class and not even in the cafeteria or in the playground he usually practiced football. I already knew things would go beyond friendship between them. They are close. All these talks made you want to leave as soon as possible. Finally found him in the playground leaning against a tree with a cigarette in his hand. His head was tilted back, eyes closed like he was trying to shut everything out. Jungkook, you called softly. He opened his eyes startled and quickly threw the cigarette down, stepping on it. You noticed he looked embarrassed that you caught him smoking. Obviously you were disappointed, but you knew he had reasons. Ryan, your name came out of his mouth in a very gentle tone. You walked near him. I've been looking for you. Are you avoiding me? He let out a small laugh, running a hand through his hair. It would be the last thing I want to do. I'm not avoiding you, Ryan. I just needed some air. Is it true, the rumors about you and Mira? You asked, your voice barely above a whisper. His jaw tightened and he let out a bitter laugh. Yeah, they're true. My parents think it's a great match. Mira couldn't stop smiling when they told her. Your heart ached at the pain in his voice. And you, what do you think? He turned to you, his eyes were burning with frustration. What do you think, Ryan? Do you think I would want this? You took a deep breath, fighting the urge to reach out and comfort him. Then don't go through with it. You can say no, Jungkook. It's not that simple. They don't care what I want. I'm just a pawn in their plans. You clench your fist at his defeated tone. But you're not a pawn, Jungkook. You can make your own decisions. You are the only one who can stop this if you really want to. He lifted his face and met your eyes. You saw the pain, and that made your heart ache. I don't even see her like that, Ryan. She's just Mira. My parents don't care about what I want. They think it's perfect because of her family status. He exhaled sharply and looked away. I feel like I'm suffocating. Stepped closer, your hand hesitating before gently touching his arm. It's going to be okay, Jungkook. You'll figure it out. You always do. He turned to you then, his dark eyes searching yours. How can you be so calm about this? Don't you care? You hesitated, surprised, and too stunned to say anything. Even if I care, Jungkook, what can I do? I can't interfere in your family's decisions. It's not my place. You are the one who has to stand up for yourself. His gaze softened and something unspoken lingered in the air between you. He took a step closer, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. Then let me tell them what I actually want. Let me tell them who I actually like. Breath hitched and eyes widened. Who? You whispered. Jungkook's eyes looked locked onto yours, his expression earnest and vulnerable. It's you, Ryan. I like you. I've always liked you. Your breath hitched and the world lodged in your throat. You searched his face, desperate to make sense of the moment. Was he serious? Was this some kind of cruel dream? But the sincerity in his eyes, the way they bored into your, as if searching for your soul, left no room for doubt. Jungkook, you murmured. Your voice was barely audible. What could you say? What should you say? The storm of emotions inside you was too much. Shock, confusion, fear, and something else that you didn't want to name just yet. He took a step closer, and you saw the air around you grew heavier. I don't care what they think, Ryan. I don't care about their plans, about Mira, about my parents. I've always known what I wanted, and it's you. It's always been you. Your chest tightened at his words, sank in, leaving you defenseless. But I don't. You stammered, trying to find your footing in the chaos of your emotions. What can I even do, Jungkook? This isn't just about us. His jaw clenched and he reached for your hand. His touch was warm and steady against your trembling fingers. No, Ryan, this is about us. Don't you see? None of it matters if you don't give me a reason to fight. I just need one reason, one word from you, and I'll go against everything. My family, their plan. Mira, I'll destroy it all for you. I just need to know you feel the same. Just stung your eyes, blurring the sight of his face, which was so close now you could feel the heat of his presence. Your heart screamed at you to say something, anything, but the weight of the moment kept your lips sealed. Did you feel the same? Of course you did. You had felt it for so long that it had become a part of you, hidden and buried under layers of fear and doubts. I don't I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Jungkook took another step forward, closing the space between you until you could feel the faintest brush of his breath on your skin. His voice dropped to a gentle, reassuring tone. You don't have to know, Ryan. That's what I'm here for. I'll fight. I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. Just give me something to hold on to. Tell me I'm not the only one who feels this. The walls around your heart shattered as his words poured over you. Your lips trembled, and the truth you had kept buried finally broke free. You're not the only one. You finally admitted while tears spilling down your cheeks. I feel it too. I've always felt it. Relief washed over his face, and for the first time, the tension in his shoulders melted away. He smiled, a small, soft smile that made your heart ache with its beauty. That's all I need to hear. I'll take care of the rest. You don't have to worry about anything. Just trust me, he said, cupping your face gently. As the moment between you and Jungkook stretched on, his thumb gently wiped away a tear from your cheek, but suddenly a sharp voice cut through the quiet, breaking the fragile bubble between you. Well, isn't this a lovely scene? Mira said, her heels clicking against the ground as she walked towards you. Her eyes darted to Jungkook's hand on your face, and her expression twisted with anger. Your stomach sank and you stepped back slightly, but Jungkook didn't let go. Instead, his grip on you tightened, as if silently telling you to stay. Is this what you have been sneaking off to do, Jungkook? I should have guessed. You always seem to end up where you don't belong, don't you, Ryan? You opened your mouth to say something, but the words wouldn't come. The sting of her insult hit hard, but before you could react, Jungkook's voice rang out. That's enough, Mira, he said sharply, his tone cutting through the tension like a knife. Mira's eyes widened at his sudden defense, but she quickly recovered, crossing her arms over her chest. Enough, you are defending her? Have you forgotten who I am, Jungkook? Your future fiancé. Jungkook's jaw tightened, but he stayed calm. Mira, you're not my fiancé. You never were, and you never will be. Her face paled, and she let out a bitter laugh. Are you serious right now? Didn't you hear what our parents say? You're throwing everything away for her? For someone so pathetic? Look at her, Jungkook. She's ugly, overweight, and desperate. Do you really think someone like her could ever compare to me? She doesn't belong in your world. She'll only embarrass you. Is that what you want? I can't. Before she could finish, his eyes darkened and anger filled in them. Enough, Mira. You both flinched slightly as his words boomed, silencing her on the spot. His gaze burned with anger as he stepped closer to her. How dare you speak to her like that? Do you think tearing her down makes you superior? It doesn't. It just shows how cruel and shallow you are. Mira's smirk faltered, but she stubbornly crossed her arms. I'm just telling the truth, Jungkook. Someone has to. Jungkook let out a bitter laugh, shaking his head. No, you're not. You're trying to make yourself feel better by insulting someone who is better than you in every way that matters. Vine is more beautiful than you could ever hope to be, not just on the outside but on the inside too. Her kindness, her strength, her heart, they are things you'll never understand because you're too busy looking down on others. Mira's face paled. She looked at him in disbelief. She was aware of Jungkook's feelings towards you, and that's one of the reasons she hates you. How can you say that? After everything our families have planned for us, you're willing to throw it all away just because she's. Jungkook cut her off sharply. Because she's the one I love. And I'll say it again, Mira. I'm not marrying you, not in a million years. I thought we were friends, but after seeing the way you treat Vian, I don't even want that anymore. Mira's voice trembled with disbelief as her eyes welled up with tears. You are ending everything. Our friendship. All these years we have known each other. You're throwing it all away because of her? Jungkook's expression hardened. No, Mira, not because of her, but because what you just showed me isn't friendship. Friends don't belittle and insult people I care about. They don't act cruel or insecure, and frankly, after seeing this side of you, I don't want you in my life anymore. Her voice cracked as she tried to maintain her composure. I only said the truth, Jungkook. Someone had to. Do you really think she's good enough for you? Jungkook's jaw clenched, his voice rising slightly, laced with anger. You don't get to decide that, and let me make something clear. Vian is more than good enough for me. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. The way she treats people, the way she makes me feel, and everything about her is beautiful. Far more beautiful than anything you could ever try to be with your insults and jealousy. Mira's tears spilled over as her shoulders shook. You'll regret this, Jungkook. You'll regret throwing away everything we had. I'll make sure your parents know what kind of mistake you're making. Jungkook took a deep breath, his tone icy and final. Go ahead, Mira, tell them. But let me be clear, I'm not changing my mind. It's my life and I'll choose who I want to spend it with. And if I marry anyone, it will be Vian, no one else. Mira let out a choked sob, glaring at you one last time before turning and storming off. Jungkook turned back to you, his expression softening as he reached for your hands. Are you okay? He nodded weakly, still shaken but comforted by his unwavering support. I'm sorry you had to go through that. He murmured, his thumb gently brushing over your knuckles. But I meant every word I said. You are the one I love, Vian, and I'll keep proving it to you every day if I have to. Tears pricked at your eyes as he whispered. Jungkook, do you really think it's the right thing? What if your parents never accept us? Jungkook's eyes softened as he gazed at you, his hand still holding yours. Vian, I've thought about this over and over. I know it won't be easy, but nothing worth having ever is. My parents may take time to understand, but that doesn't mean I'll back down. I've lived my whole life trying to meet their expectations, doing what they wanted, but this is different. This is my happiness, and my happiness is with you. But Jungkook, what if they never accept us? What if they make things harder for you, for us? Jungkook stepped closer, his voice steady and determined. Then I'll fight for us, no matter how long it takes, no matter what they say or do. I've lived long enough doing what others wanted, Vian. This time I'm choosing for myself, and I'm choosing you, always you. You searched his face, seeing the unwavering determination in his eyes. He truly believed every word he said. You make it sound so simple. He chuckled softly, brushing a strand of hair from your face. It's not simple. It's anything but you're worth it, Vian. If I have to face the world just to be with you, then I'll do it without hesitation. I just want to know that you'll be with me until the end. You nodded without hesitation. Well, Jungkook, till my last breath, I don't know how I got so lucky to have someone like you, Jungkook. He smiled, leaning down to press his forehead against yours. If anything, I'm the lucky one, and I'll spend every day proving that to you. For a moment, the world seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of you in each other's arms. No matter what challenges lay ahead, you knew one thing for sure: you wouldn't be facing them alone. atmosphere in the John family living room was tense, suffocating even. Jungkook stood tall in the center of the room, his hands balled into fists at his sides, while his parents sat on the lavish couch, their expressions a mix of shock and disapproval. He sat quietly on the edge of a chair. Jungkook, I can't believe what I'm hearing. You're throwing away everything we have planned for you, for this girl? Her words felt like a slap, but Jungkook's voice cut through the tension. Don't call her this girl. Her name is Vian, and she's the woman I love. You are being reckless. Do you have any idea what this will do to our family's reputation? Mira is a perfect match. Her family, her status. It's what's best for you. Jungkook's jaw tightened, his eyes blazing with determination. You mean it's what's best for you? You have been making decisions for me my entire life, but not this time. This is my life, and I have the right to decide who I want to spend it with. Mrs. John passed a hand to her chest as if his words physically wounded her. Jungkook, we only want what's best for you. Vian doesn't belong in our world. She can't give you the life Mira can. You flinched at her words, but Jungkook stepped closer as if protecting you. She gives me something Mira never could, happiness. She's kind, strong, and more beautiful inside and out than anyone I've ever known. I don't care about status or wealth. What I care about is spending my life with someone who loves me for who I am, not for my life or what I can provide. Mrs. John turned to you, narrowing her eyes. And you? Do you think you're capable of handling the weight of being with him? Do you think you are ready for the sacrifices this life demands? You hesitated and your voice trembled but honest. I know it won't be easy, but I love Jungkook. I'll stand by him no matter what it takes. Jungkook smiled softly at your words before turning back to his parents. Here, you have heard it straight from her. She's willing to fight for us, and so am I. Whether you approve or not, my decision is final. If you can't accept us, then I'll leave. I won't stay in a home where my love is treated like she's not good enough. Jungkook, don't be ridiculous. I am not being ridiculous, mother. I'm being honest. I've always respected your wishes, but this time I'm asking you to respect mine. The room fell silent, the weight of his words settling over everyone. Mr. John looked away, his expression unreadable, while Mrs. John's eyes brimmed with unshed tears. Finally, Mr. John broke the silence. You are serious about this? I've never been more serious about anything in my life. There was a long pause before Mr. John sighed, his shoulders slumping slightly. If this is what you truly want, then so be it. I don't understand your choice, but I can see that your feelings for her are genuine. Mrs. John gasped softly, her hand clutching her husband's arm. You can't be serious. He's our son. If this is what makes him happy, we have to accept it. Tears of relief welled in your eyes as Jungkook stepped forward, his voice softening. Thank you, father, and I promise you'll see that Ryan is everything I've ever needed. Jungkook turned to you, his hand reaching out for yours. As you took it, he squeezed gently, his eyes filled with reassurance. We'll be okay together. As the tension in the room eased a little, Jungkook's father gave a small nod, showing his reluctant acceptance, but his mother, Mrs. John, still looked uncertain. Her eyes turned to you, and for a moment you couldn't figure out what she was feeling hesitation, disappointment, or something else entirely. Finally, she broke the silence, her voice steady but serious. Ryan, come here. You glared at Jungkook, who gave your hand a reassuring squeeze before nodding. Taking a deep breath, you stepped forward, standing in front of her. She looked at you intently, her expression unreadable. I can see that my son loves you, and I have never seen him fight so hard for anything in his life. That means you must be someone very special to him. Her words caught you off guard, and you nodded hesitantly. I love him too, ma'am. I promise I'll do everything I can to make him happy. She let out a soft sigh, folding her hands neatly in her lap. She was skeptical because you don't have a family background and you're an orphan, but she couldn't ignore her son's immense love for you. That's a good start, but it's not enough. You need to understand something, Ryan. Being with Jungkook doesn't just mean loving him, it means being part of this family. A family with expectations, traditions, and a certain way of life. Are you prepared for that? Her words hung in the air, heavy with implication. You swallowed hard but met her gaze steadily. I may not know everything about your family's traditions, but I'm willing to learn. I'll do whatever it takes to prove that I can be a part of this family. Her eyes softened slightly, though her tone remained firm. I respect your determination, but actions speak louder than words. You'll have to earn your place here, Ryan. Not just for my sake, but for Jungkook's as well. I won't tolerate anything less than what's best for my son. Jungkook stepped forward then, his voice calm but unwavering. Mother, Ryan doesn't have to prove anything. She's already enough for me, and that should be enough for all of you. Mrs. John's gaze flicked to him, and a faint smile tugged at her lips. You have grown so much, Jungkook. You have become a man who knows his own mind, and I can't ignore that. But as your mother, I have every right to expect the best for you, and to make sure Ryan understands the weight of the life she is stepping into. Turning back to you, she gave a small nod. You have already won Jungkook's heart, Ryan, but winning the rest of this family's trust will take time. I hope you are ready for that challenge. You nodded, your voice steady despite the lump in your throat. I am, ma'am. I'll do my best. For the first time, Mrs. John's expression softened, and though her approval wasn't complete, it felt like the beginning of something. Then we'll see. Welcome to the family, Ryan. Jungkook smiled, pulling you into his side protectively. His voice was warm and full of pride. That's all I need to hear. And in that moment, you realized that while the road ahead might not be easy, you weren't walking it alone. You had Jungkook by your side, and together you could face anything.